So, Tao Te Ching, Chapter 2. Everyone knows the beautiful as such because of the unsightly. Everyone knows the virtuous as such because of the existence of evil. Being and non-being give birth to another. Difficult and easy complement each other. Long and short offset each other. High and low contrast each other. Notes and sounds harmonize with each other. Before and after follow each other. Therefore, the wise acts without doing. He teaches without speaking. Everything grows without him lifting a finger. All things arise without being owned. He achieves without merit. If one thing is done, he keeps just moving on. Not holding on to things, there is nothing he could lose. So, let's have a look. Tao Te Ching, Chapter 2. Everyone knows the beautiful as such because of the unsightly. Everyone knows the virtuous as such because of the existence of evil. So, in these two opening lines, what we find is basically a definition of this world being a manifestation of the forces of Yin and Yang. Okay, it means that the reason why you are able to see one thing as what it is that there is the opposite. Okay, we only can see stuff because there is light and darkness, and because of that there is contrast, and because of that there are colors. Okay, so we need, in this dimension where we are all living in, we need yin and yang to be, like the human being itself exists of, in a Daoist view, persists of the yin, which is the human body, the flesh, the organs, the blood and stuff. And on the other hand, we have this soul, this entity, the spiritual, which is yang. Okay, so the human being itself consists of yin and yang. And yeah, with this opening sentence, with these two sentences, this truth is defined. There's only good if there is evil. There's only beautiful if there is unsightly stuff. Okay. So that's the first level of yin and yang, which is their opposites. We need two separate poles, and in between life is happening. Okay. So that's for the first two sentences. Then it goes on with being and non-being give birth to another, which defines another relationship between yin and yang. Because it is said that one give birth to the other, which is kind of which is defining that yin and yang do follow each other. Okay, it's an ongoing process. The one produces the other, so to speak. The night produces the day produces the night, for example. So that's another aspect of yin and yang. Difficult and easy complement each other. Another aspect, they complement, so both form one. Okay, So that's another aspect of yin and yang. Long and short offset each other. High and low contrast each other. Okay, there are all these forms that in which yin and yang communicate, or how yin and yang are connected to each other, what they do to each other, what they mean for each other. Okay, so basically this chapter 2 of the Tao Te Ching is a definition of what yin and yang means, even though yin and yang is not mentioned by word in these texts. So notes and sounds harmonize with each other. So that's another way in which they are linked, and before and after follow each other. So and then the next paragraph is about what should we do. And in the Tao Te Ching, it's always defined by explaining what the wise or what the sacred man would do. So because yin and yang are behaving in all those ways, the wise acts without doing. He teaches without speaking. Everything grows without him lifting a finger. All things arise without being owned. He achieves without merit. If one thing is done, he keeps just moving on. So what does that mean? That means yin and yang are in a constant flow. Okay, there's constantly a movement going on between yin and yang, because that's how the world is. That's just how it works. Okay, so you cannot, in this world, you cannot leave that moving part out. So, and by knowing that everything is moving anyway, the wise acts without doing. What does that mean? That the Chinese term for this not doing, without doing, is Wu Wei. Which is always translated as such, not doing or not acting on something. But of course, it does not mean that the wise people do just sit in a mountain cave all day and do nothing, because that's not, well, that's just not what makes sense. It means that because the wise man knows that everything is already in a process, he waits for the right moment when whatever he has to do himself is most in alignment with what nature's already doing. Which means that the energy he has to invest into doing something is the smallest. Okay, so that he doesn't have where he doesn't have to put a lot of own effort in there, but that most of it happens by itself. Okay, a modern type of saying this would be go with the flow. Okay, so everybody knows this feeling when things are just happening, when you are in that kind of mood or energy that you just have to go with the flow, and you don't have to really do anything. You just go by it. So you do with how it feels, and you end up getting a lot better results than by forcing it with your will. You know, it's the difference between I want this so badly to happen now, and I just wait until the time is right and then I'll do it. Okay, so that's the difference is in the attitude. Okay, it's the attitude towards how the world works and how much we can achieve by forcing. And in this paragraph, there's said, therefore the wise acts without doing, he teaches without speaking. What does that mean? That means that the wise knows that the best way to teach something is by just living the way you live, and others will either be inspired and then they are taught something, or they just don't care and then they are not taught something, but that's not your issue. Okay, so he teaches without speaking. He just does. He lives. And by that, he inspires whoever wants to be inspired. Okay. Everything grows without him lifting a finger. That's again the part. Like he is letting the world work for himself. So he waits for the right time. He is not standing in the way of nature. He does not interfere with his will, which very often only makes things more complicated, but does not help. Okay. All things arise without being owned. He achieves without merit. Okay, that is an important part, because that means that the wise do not give so much about having stuff. They don't link their happiness and their luck to things. Okay, that's not the same as not having things, like monks. Okay, but it follows kind of the same idea. Like, but you don't have to be a monk to live this quality. It's just about, if something's there, you use it and you enjoy it. And if it's gone, then it's gone. But you don't link your happiness to that object, okay? So all things arise without being owned. He achieves without merit, which means the wise man, of course, he does stuff, and of course he achieves stuff. He actually achieves a lot more than people trying to force something with their will. He achieves stuff, but it's not about the merit for him. It's not about people telling him how great he is. So he achieves and then he goes on. If one thing is done, he keeps just moving on. Okay, it's just he lives and moves on. And again, it's this picture of not linking your heart or your happiness to things or to merit or to anything on the outside. Okay, that's the important part. It's about being in the moment, cherish the moment, enjoy the moment, live truly in the moment, but letting go of things. Do not hold on. Okay? Not holding on to things. There is nothing he could lose. Oh, what a fine sentence that is, right? Not holding on to things. There is nothing he could lose. Yeah, and that's quite true, isn't it? Yeah, I don't have to add something to that. It's just, yeah, that's it. Okay, so so this second chapter of the Tao Te Ching is all about Yin Yang and how Yin Yang is working, and how Yin Yang is constantly flowing around us. And Yin Yang is also, for example, our very own atoms, which form the essence of our being. In every atom, you have positive parts in the middle, in the core, and then you have negatives, electrons flying around it. So this movement is also yin and yang. So it's moving all the time. Okay? So, and this movement is what keeps moving all the processes in the world. And the wise man knows that and tries to go with a natural flow of things and tries to not interfere by putting their will into that. but by going with the natural flow of things, and by that enjoying the most, cherishing the most, getting the most out of it, but not linking their hearts to it. And because they do not hold on to things, there's nothing they could lose. Okay. So that was my little interpretation of the second chapter of the Tao Te Ching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.